Oh gosh.
Now, I'm willing to bet that everyone in the history of ever, at some point in their lives, has written or drawn something that is so unbelievably horrendously cringe that you just do not want to look at it again. And, you know, people move houses, stuff gets lost, shit happens, and most of us can just forget this stage of our lives. However, some people aren't so lucky. Now, join me on an adventure as we look through the preteen illustrated and written exploits of the most irritating person known to man, and we have a little chuckle, or maybe a giggle, or maybe even a guffaw, because there is some shit contained in these. Now, just as some prior warning, I won't actually be going through every notebook in this drawer because even I am using this video to procrastinate revising. We don't have all day. It is a sad fate. But, you know, I thought, let's start from the beginning with some literature. There'll be quite a time jump after this, but just to start us off, this is my holiday diary. Now, it's interesting, this one, because there's no actual holidays involved, because when I was 7 writing this, I didn't go anywhere, so exactly what the titling means, I'm unsure. But this one is quite delightful. Now, let's begin a dramatic reading of my holiday diary. Happy New Year, everyone! It's a fresh new year, so that means a brand new holiday diary. Awesome for all you fans. Was I alright? I have some good news that this holiday diary is the biggest, best ever. This time there is my birthday, Chinese New Year, 2 Bristol visits, and much more as well. May I clarify, this was the one and only holiday diary. There was no smaller, inferior holiday diary previously. This was it, for all of my fans. So, where to start, Aha, my birthday party. Yes, let's get started. I don't want to keep the suspense any longer. I really do want to know who I thought was reading this, except for just me to laugh at it about 10 years later. I woke up this morning and I was so excited because it is my birthday. Well, nearly, it's actually on Wednesday, but never mind, let's carry on. Where was I? Ah, yes. ... Today, I'm going to raise the roof. An indoor play park, not a hairdresser's full sheds. I was a comedian, and no one could top me. With my free ends as a nearly birthday treat, there is a pool pool, a trampoline, and loads of high corridors. It's epic. Sorry, I used a boy's word. Little do you know, bitch, little do you know. Before I continue, I haven't introduced myself. I am, and I'm going to redact this bit because I don't want you to find my house, and also I've changed my name, but I did make a really funny joke about my surname sounding like cauliflower, which it doesn't in any dimension, but thank you, I guess. I know, cheeky, that was a cauliflower pun, but true. Let's get on with it. So I had invited all my friends, and we had so much fun, mostly in the spooky zone. Not at all scary, but cool. Now, the Chinese New Year I am going to move past very quickly, only because the whole page is just a description of the outfit I wore that day and the food I ate that day, kind of a la My Immortal, so we're going to bypass it. And just also to clarify, there is only 3 chapters to this epic tale, so sorry to all my fans. Chapter 3. At last, I'm in Bristol. Crying. Anyway, it is so cool in my dad's mansion. Well, large house. Epic. Another boyish word. My greatest apologies. Now, day, I am going to pirate crazy golf. which I loved, especially the part where Yao hit the ball into a shack and you see a pirate on the toilet who will say something like, "Watch out, she's gonna blow," and Trunks, or "Do you mind?" Now that, my friends, was all we had. Now we're going to do some brief time skipping here, because this was maybe 2013. We're going to move on a few years. We're going to move on to an illustrated chapter of my life, which was 2014 to about 2015. Look, I used to label them. I used to label these books when I was like 11 years old. Look at me go. Now, something I need to preface this one with was that when I was 9, I was a massive weeb. Like, I was a massive weeb. It was quite embarrassing, and I didn't really watch anime, nor did I know what it looked like, but just the concept of it was so endlessly appealing to me that I would draw little else. Let's share some of the delights from this book. This, my friends, was my first ever original character. This is Aiko. She looked like Hatsune Miku because I saw the only anime image I'd ever seen was Hatsune Miku, and I thought, wow, she's mine now. So this is Aiko. Aiko had no personality and she didn't really do anything, but she did wear a tie and a little skirt like a schoolgirl, but she didn't go to school. She just did. But she had a friend, and her friend was called Sora. And Sora looked like a Victorian peasant child, and I'm never entirely sure on why this was, but it was. So most of the drawings in this book were quite uneventful. It was lots of them standing, and then them standing, and then them standing, and Aiko Expression Practice 1, which I used to show to people when I wanted them to give me attention, because if I was drawing a sad anime girl, that must have meant I was sad. But beyond that, there were few events in here. Although I did have quite a wonderful self-insert in this era. Everyone cast your eyes upon this beautiful creature. What her name was, lost to time. All I remember was that she had pink hair and she was a cat girl and she was very unlucky in love. While I'm flicking through this, I'll put some images on the screen of just the wonders contained within this book. But sadly, there aren't actually many things to remark on, except that my anatomy was quite wonderful in this era of my life. There's also the event of the beginning of my horse phase in this one, with this wonderful image that I think we all need to have a nice look at. But beyond that, there are a few remarkable things to say about this book. So we can safely move on to our next display. Now, I feel like the first thing we have to look at is just this beautiful warrior. Let's have a really good look at this beautiful illustration on the cover. Nothing compares to this. This is really quite an image. But this book had a bit more to look at. There were some things to read. There was some awful displays. I even wrote the beginning of my own Warrior Cats rip-off. Not fan fiction. I was above fan fiction when I was 9 years of age. This was my Warrior Cats completely original, unrelated Warrior Cat story that was not at all copied from the books Warrior Cats. Let's have a little read, because there's only a few paragraphs to get through here. Wild. Cayenne wandered through the forest. His fur glistened flame orange in the hot afternoon sun. He grasped his freshly caught dead rabbit in his sharp teeth, and he deeply inhaled the heavenly sense of the flesh, since he knew he would have to share it out later. He couldn't resist any longer, so he just took a ... nibble. Suddenly, I didn't finish it, that was all we had. If that reminded you of any passage or plot points in the Warrior Cats books, then no it didn't, and you're lying. Sadly, this book has little else to offer, except it did have quite a wonderful anime illustration here. Well, you know, anime illustration. This marked before I got my greasy, grubby little baby hands on a Mark Crilly how to draw manga book, so we were really just rolling with it and hoping here. We also do have a nice example of some fine comedy in this book, though. Let's have a little look. Okay, so here are these two men, and two chemists walk into a bar, and the first one says, "I will have some H2O," and the second one says, "I'll have some H2O too." And on the drawing, you can see that, oh no, that second chemist, he didn't say H2O2, he said H2O2. The second chemist dies. Lol, lol, lol. I wonder whose uncle I got that one off. It is a grave shame that there wasn't much to offer in this one, because this was an era of my life that was marked by interesting tastes and interesting hobbies. All I used to do with myself was Google hot anime girl, play Geometry Dash, and watch a horse TV show. So it's quite amazing that I managed to have such a boring collection of drawings from this time. But, you know, we digress. Now, the rest of the notebooks, most of the rest of the notebooks to come, are from a very similar era. So I may mix up this part of the video depending on how dead the contents are. But we do have some treats and some wonders in here, I'm sure. This one is from May 2016, began on the 4th of May. Which you can tell because there was a Star Wars Day anime special on the first page. Oh yeah, baby. The first drawing in here was quite a questionable pencil sketch of, I think these were two of the horses, but like the person horses. Does anyone remember the person horses? Those movies were like quite something. But one of them just has an arrow drawn next to her saying, "Bad." And I do not remember why that was. Any person horse fans out there, hit me up. Tell me the lore. Tell me why she was bad. This was a note. I had quite a bad habit when I was 10, which was that I wouldn't actually finish drawings. I would begin something and then I would get bored and then I would turn the page. So most of these are just 4 lines in pencil in the middle of a page and very little else, hence why we're going to kind of mix these notebooks, because individually there's not much to be said. Our next notebook is showing some signs of battery, and that is because I used to just shove these. I just shove these in my bag, and then I'd spill water everywhere, and then they'd get wet and be in my bag, and then I'd try and stick things to the covers, and I wouldn't stick them on properly, and then the covers would fall off, and then I'd take them out in the rain. So basically what happened was that this is just not in a good way, and if I move it too hard, all the pages fall out. So, but there are some interesting feature points. Now is the beginning of a comic, a manga, if you will, which is currently falling out of the book. And I'm not really sure what the plot was, but because I only got about 5 panels in before I wrote, "This sucks, I give up." Thank you for that one. This one's a lot more kind of incomprehensible mid-page doodles. Although I do enjoy this one that says, "Randomness commence." I think I should start any future videos with that line because I think it adds quite a lot to what is to come. Now, although there is one page that is particularly interesting in this notebook, which is what I visualise this channel looking like in 5 years from drawing it. Note the 10 million subscribers and the 258th episode of Playing The Sims. I would like to know who these subscribers are and what they're doing. Now, the next one we move on to is perhaps a personal favourite of mine, because this, my friends, was when we began the emo phase. Now, you could argue from just the general state of me that we haven't really bypassed this emo phase much, but you would be wrong, my friend, because Oh my god. Now, let's begin a reading of this. Oh, why hello there, human. You have reached the hub of pretentious teen angst. You're 10 years old. And dead end for living souls. The illustrations on this page, quite something. And so are the rest of the illustrations in this one, although it is short. Again, some of those will be on screen as I'm speaking, I'm sure. There was even some amateur songwriting in here, which I do not care to read out, but just know is in there. The next one we move on to, friends, is another one from around this era, although there is a solid few years in between these two events happening. That emo one, maybe 2016, and this one's maybe 2018, so, you know, not much, but there is quite a bit. Although, clearly, I hadn't really moved on. Now, this one's entirely literary, but I think perhaps one of the funniest things I've ever read. Despite what a cutesy cover may suggest, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in here. If that's what you're looking for, read the Fluffy Pink Diary. This is an unfiltered version of my life, mixed in with random thoughts and drawings. If you aren't me, stop reading. Close this now and walk away. I mean now, not in a few lines. Now. If you're me, keep reading, I guess. But just know, if I want someone dead, I will say it. If I want to write my feelings, I will do it. This is my truthful diary of emotion from the 17th of April 2018. Enjoy, I guess. I like this entry a lot, this is funny. So on the 15th of, I think that says June 2018, I wrote, "Hi, wow, I haven't written in ages. Sorry, I had a good day today. We got to take our phones out in science, which was amazing. Maths was hell though. I had to watch my crush and his girlfriend being all flirty. They haven't even hugged yet. I bet they don't even like each other. I hate my jealous streak. Also, I think I'm straight." Wow, that came out of nowhere. Sorry, lol. That crush, the one I mentioned earlier, proved that to me. Although the crush is annoying because he's a sheep. Bye. Now, ignoring just how hysterically funny most of that is, I feel like we need to elaborate on the sheep thing. I was in the peak of like a not like other girls phase at this stage, and anyone who wasn't me was a sheep. They were a conformant sheep, and they were part of the herd, and they're all sheep, which is reflected in this next entry, which is called Sheep. Try not to shit yourself laughing, because it took me quite a few takes to get to a stage where I didn't. Sheep. I realised today that I'm surrounded by sheep. No, not actual sheep. People who do nothing but follow the herd, date within the herd, and revolve their lives around the herd. I was about 11 when people I knew put on their woolly coats and left me for the herd. What does that mean? I thought I was so cool. And the last entry was about 2 sentences long. It was sports day today. Mostly it was pretty average. I realised how unpopular I am though. I wonder why, you creepy cunts. Now, we've finally reached the last notebook, and it may be a bit of an anti-climax, but it is also quite a funny adventure to go down. This one was like late 2018. We'd moved past the edgy phase, and we were all into like, we're back on the cringe train quite proudly here. Let's just have a little look at the opening page of this and you'll get a good feeling. "Hello Earthlings, welcome to my notebook. Feel free to look around, but please don't touch or draw on anything because, you know, that's rude." Got some nice illustrations of some YouTubers here. I hope none of these have aged badly. Sadly, the actual content of the notebook is not quite as funny as the opening passage, although I do enjoy this nice illustration of an incest anime. Thanks for that. That I'm afraid, does conclude our quite funny journey through the shit I came up with when allowed a pencil or a pen between the ages of like 10 and 12. I hope we all enjoyed this journey. I hope we enjoyed going on this little adventure. I really do actually have to go and do the homework I've been procrastinating now. I wasn't kidding about that part. I'm meant to be revising a GCSE. Anyway, I hope we all enjoyed. Farewell, and hopefully I will see you again.